Right, welcome back to another video. So, I'm finally bringing my cosmos out. I need to resow my runner beans because they got eaten, as I kind of expected. And then I have loads of stuff to plant out. And yeah, this is going to be an issue because they are so tangled up and overgrown for the seed tray that they're in. And I don't even know where they're going yet, so I'm just going to be putting them up into individual pots and then we can grow them on a bit. I pinched out the tips the other day, although there's one that's got a flower coming, two that have flowers coming, three that have flowers coming. So we'll figure these out. I might just put 2 per pot because there's quite a lot in there. But we will get to that. But before that, I'll show you some updates around the greenhouse because everything's growing really quickly now. I've planted out some more stuff off camera just to, I don't know, just because I wanted to. I was just in the mood to do some potting up and planting. So I'll give you a really quick tour and then we'll get on with some jobs. Okay, so I'm going to start with, I'll call this the main bed because it's full and it is ready for the year ahead. So the lettuces, as you guys will be familiar with, are growing really well. They've kind of had a bit of a growth spurt over the past past week, yeah, since you last saw them. And these are basically getting to the size of my hand now. And this one is finally catching up. I did actually plant a little one next to him because I was really not feeling too confident with that one. But these are getting really big. Like, look how cool that looks. These ones are just getting to a good size. I'm not going to pick them just yet. I'm going to leave them for another week or two, let them kind of probably double in size, and then I'll start picking. But something like this size, I could definitely take off nearly half those leaves and it would be perfectly fine. Yeah, so the tomatoes are growing nicely. They're looking super healthy, lovely and green. I planted out some of the marigolds. I don't know, I don't think I showed you guys. Planted out some of these just as little fillers, and then all my basil. I don't remember if I showed you these before, but they're actually doing really well. And I think the heat, they're loving the heat. So fingers crossed, we'll be able to make some pesto this year. Yeah, stop right there. Oh my God. He has been an absolute menace. I mean, he's been pretty good this morning, but once he gets in the garden, that's when it all changes. Okay, and we have our first French marigold flower, which is so pretty. Can't wait to see more of these. I really want to get some of the African marigolds as well. They're the ones with the big like pom-pom heads. But yeah, these were the ones that were in the seed trays. They're wilting a bit at the moment, but I planted those and they're looking really good. Look how cool this looks. I just can't wait to start eating it. Then if we move over here where Mr. Man is chewing on some, I don't know what, a leaf. Let me get back a bit actually. Chest off. No, I don't think so, mate. Stop digging. Go dig outside. Go dig outside. This bed here, I've just yesterday made this. So just yesterday I made this trellis. You can't really see it too well because there's so much mess in the background. This is going to be where my spare cucumber is going to go up. I stringed lines across and then I tied a line down the middle to hold up each line with a bit of strength. And I've also tied this to the framework so that it doesn't fall over because it's not really dug into the ground in the corners. They're just kind of dug into like 4 inches of compost. Where was I going with that? Yeah, so the cucumber's going to go down there. Going to plant some tomatoes in here today. Not these tomatoes, these are my spares. Alicantes, well, 1 or 2 for my parents. These ones I'm keeping for me. And yeah, spare. Did plant a couple of marigolds down there as well because I just love popping the marigolds in the corners of the beds. I've got a lupin in here that I need to get rid of. And the carrots. Yeah, so the carrots that I've got in here, they are, and I showed them in a recent video, but they are doing okay. There is a carrot down there if you look, which I'm happy about. But yeah, I don't want to pull it out yet because I'll probably just harvest them all in one go and we'll try and eat them in one weekend or something. Why has it gone blurry? Yeah, so carrots there. Got all this space here my coleus that I potted up, they're doing much better, but you can see they're kind of getting scorched by the sun. They do not want a lot of direct sun and a lot of heat, and that is exactly what they're getting here. So I don't know where they're going yet, so I'm gonna just leave them there for now. Right, and on the table here I've got my peppers. I've actually been seeing quite a few people on YouTube show their peppers, and mine are really small compared to a lot of people's, which, yeah, I don't know why. I started these in January, so I thought they were going to be, I don't know, they'll be fine, they'll catch up, they'll do good once they're planted. The morning glories are already flowering, which is really cool. I need to plant those out. These are the big sunflowers that I sowed the other day, and then my coastal sunflowers are here. These are probably ready to go out. I'm just really worried that they're not tough enough yet to survive a slug attack, but I think they're really close to being ready. This has turned into an absolute mess again. My red cabbages, again, gotta wait for them to get a bit bigger before I put them out. The spare cauliflowers, don't know what to do with really. The alyssums are flowering, so I'm going to try and plant those out either today or within the next week. My beefsteaks have got pretty big. I don't know how well you can see, but these are going to go, or two of these are going to go into this bed here. So either where the carrots are or in front, but I don't know, I need to figure out the spacing. Then the sweet peas I still need to plant out. Don't look at those. And then, yeah, the French marigolds over here. These are ready to go out. My Swiss chards are finally doing a bit of growth. Oops. So I'm going to pot these up individually today, hopefully, just to get them growing a bit bigger. The lettuces that are spares, or these might be going elsewhere. I don't know. I just don't know where to put them yet. And then, I didn't show you. My cucumbers are looking dreadful. God, that's looking really bad. It's just the heat and the sun. They've kind of, the new growth's going to come through perfectly fine. They're just taking, like, the leaves that were grown indoors that are not used to this level of extreme light. They're kind of taking a bit of a toll. But the new foliage that comes through is going to be pretty good. And I'm saying that, trying to believe that is true. It's definitely true, but they just don't look great. Let's not spend too much time on that. Oh, my kale, I need to pot these up. I'll try and pot these up today if I get time, but like, they're just insanely slow growing. But once they get going, they go crazy, but these are just super slow. I've got another morning glory there that needs to be planted out. Again, I'm just really worried that I'm going to plant it out and a slug is going to eat through these stems and it's just going to be a waste. So trying to hold off on planting, but really it needs it. Once it gets in the ground, it can really get a bit more robust. These are the pumpkins and the courgettes. These need a water. I'll give these a water today, but look at the size of that courgette. That won't be too long really until it's starting to flower. So I'm actually really happy with those. It's kind of like you spend 1 week not looking at it and then you look at it again and it's like doubled in size, which is really, really good. Considering you buy a seedling of these in the garden centre, that would be like £1.50. Not that £1.50 is like breaking a bank, but they grow so fast from seed that it's really just worth getting the seed, and if you've got the space, grow them yourself. These are the pumpkins, and you can see they're actually starting to like vine a little bit. You see it's just that internode there is getting a bit longer. This is the something de Provence, French. I thought it was French. I think it's French. I haven't really actually researched, but it looks very French. These are the pumpkins. Absolutely, I can't wait until they grow. If you guys don't know, pumpkins are my favourite thing to grow. My sweet corns, these are actually dry. I need to give these water. But if I get down a bit lower, look how well they're doing. They are looking a little bit discoloured, but I think that's just because they're bone dry. They look wet. Like, look at that soil. Does that not look wet to you? But that is bone dry. So a bit deceiving, but doing very, very well. Marigolds here. I planted out a couple of these into that bed over there, like I showed you. These are doing really good, looking really healthy. These are ready to be divided. And then my leeks and spring onions, leeks. These are, I was gonna plant the spring onions in either in and around the tomatoes or in that bed over there, maybe like a line of them here. Ideally I'd put them outside because I don't want them to get too hot because they could potentially go to flower, but there's the rest of my vegetable patch that I have not weeded in the slightest. So slight issue there. Yeah, so growth has been incredible. I've been keeping on top of watering. Chester has not attacked anything really. He's really inquisitive, but he's not really destroyed anything yet. He just keeps picking up chunks of chalk and playing with them, and I think that's okay for now. Okay, right, I'm going to plant the cucumber first. I want to get that in the ground, give it a good water, let it start establishing, so that I'm getting ahead, because not getting ahead, kind of catching up with the lack of growth that they've had over the past 2 weeks. I think they've been in the greenhouse. Whew, I feel like I'm talking so fast. Okay, cool. The cauliflowers have grown huge. They've like doubled in size in the hoop. I'll call them hoop houses. In the hoop houses. Oh, I want to show you one thing as well. Let me grab a. So I purchased some new seeds. I wasn't going to buy them because they were kind of on the more expensive side. They weren't expensive. It was like total £5, but actually thinking about that, it's kind of expensive. For some, these are miniature French beans, and they're called yin yang. If you guys know that already, you're going to know about what I'm about to show you. But if you have not seen these, they are like magic seeds. Look at those. They look like, to me they look like little killer whales, but they're called yin yang because they kind of look like the yin yang sign, but like they look like tiny little killer whales. And they are just so cool. They're just, yeah, miniature French beans. I don't know where they're gonna go. I didn't think about it too much, but because they aren't climbing beans, they're just dwarf French beans, bush beans. They should be pretty okay going just in kind of gaps or areas where other plants may fail. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but yeah, so yin yang beans. I've got them from Grown Local. I've heard very, very good things about Grown Local. He's very close to a flowering plant that gets covered in bees, so I'm really hoping he doesn't get stung. Yeah, so I'm going to sow some of these today. Don't know where they're going to go, but once they come up, I'll figure it out. Okay, cool, right. Let's turn the camera around. I'm going to plant that cucumber, and then the other 2 cucumbers are going to go in a quad grow, which, no, I'm not going to do that today. They're not big enough yet, really. They're only in this size pot. What is that, like, I don't know what size it is. They're only in these pots, and they're not growing very profusely, so I'm going to wait until they really get growing, and then I'll plant them into the quad grows. But let's get the camera turned. Right, okay, so there's really not going to be much to this, but basically, because there's 1 cucumber left over, I'm going to plant it right in the middle, kind of close to the edge. That's where it's going to go. Here's my big foot mark where I was doing the trellis. Let me add some. Oh my god, what has he got? Did you guys see that? I don't know if that showed up on camera, but he's running around with the whole parsley plant that was here. I better check that's not poisonous. Right. Okay, so I might add a little bit of fertilizer here, but I'm not too worried because this is all fresh compost this year. Well, no, that's a complete lie. There's a fresh layer of compost on top of this from this year. So I don't worry too much about the nutrient availability in here, but I'll give it maybe a handful of fertilizer. Let me grab my tray. Okay, so I'll put some fertilizer down there, give it a little dig in. So this is, I believe it's fish blood and bone, or it's chicken manure. I don't remember because I threw the packaging away. I just kept the bag that doesn't have anything written on it, which is, I thought was a bit weird. Okay, cool. Right, let's get you in here. Yeah, the roots aren't incredible. Like, they look okay. There's a worm in there. They look, yeah, they're pretty fine. I just think that maybe this has potentially been slightly overwatered as well, which is not gonna, which would have contributed to the discoloration as well. But let's get you in there. I'm not gonna firm it in hard, I'm just gonna gently pack it in. And then, job's a good one, right. And this little string here, this is like a leftover bit of string, I'll just kind of wrap it around, just so that he's got that kind of climb on. Okay, cool. I'll go get more. Here's a quick look at the roses that are flowering. They go over so quickly. Like this one's only been open for maybe a week and it's already looking, I don't want to say it's past it, but it's on its way. The variety is Bantry Bay. It's climbing rose. It's really pretty, but it's a shame how quickly they kind of fade. I also have one other rose up here, let me show you. And this was a rose that we planted with intentions for it to get a bit bigger than it is right now. So it's very much hidden. We've had to move the furniture to see it. But this is, I believe it's called Blue Moon. And we wanted like a bluey coloured rose. So is it Blue Moon? Let me see if there's a label. Surely we didn't throw the label away. I don't see the label. But this is just such a lovely colour and it smells incredible. These again are kind of going a bit past it, but yeah, really, really pretty. The roses are doing quite well. Right, okay, I'm gonna plant the yin yang beans in this cell tray. I think this will be enough for me. There's only 9, and hopefully they all come up. I'm gonna do that thing that I really hate that I do, but I'm gonna just take soil from the vegetable bed because the bag of compost I have is down out the front of the house, and I can't be bothered to go down there and bring that all up right now. So this is going to be super quick. I don't have a label either, which is a bit annoying, but look how incredible those seeds are. Cool, right. I'll just place one on top. The thing is with these, oh my God. With the size of these cells, I'm going to have to kind of transplant them pretty quickly because these will not sustain bean roots very long because they do grow very quickly. Cool, okay, let's sprinkle a little bit over the surface. Get them watered, maintain the water. The thing is, when I was growing beans in the house, they grew so slowly. They germinated so slowly because it was kind of a bit cooler in the house. Whereas out here, with the heat of the day, these are going to germinate relatively quickly. So let me get some water. I might go and grab a label actually because I'm gonna. No, to be fair, I've only got one of these trays. Yeah, there we go. I've talked myself into the lazy option. I've only got one of these trays, so I'll remember. Okay, let's give it a water. Put these somewhere nice and safe. And let's plant something else. I need to plant the tomatoes and I just don't know what to do with these carrots. I don't know what to do because I can't eat them tonight. I mean, obviously I could, but I'm not going to. Let's not make a decision right now. We don't have to. Let me water these. No, thank you. We don't need your help with watering, but thank you. No, and you're not going to drink this either because it's out of the water, but yeah, I'll give you an upset stomach and probably worms. Here we go. Okay. Cool, and I'll expect these to come up within a week and a half, 2 weeks. Hopefully, never grown them before. That's just what my gut's telling me. Okay, cool. Chester, you can't eat all my soil because I'll have none left. I think I've planted a couple. I don't think I've planted a couple. I've planted a couple of marigolds just here. I think I might add a couple more there because I don't really know what else is going to go in that spot that's right next to the cucumber. I don't really want to put a crop there because it may or may not be a space for very long. So I'm just going to grab a couple more of these out of this tray and just transplant them. Gently, easy does it. The roots in here have just gone pretty crazy, so yeah, we're gonna have some tearing, but here we go. I'll plant one quite close because the cucumber's not going to grow insanely quick, and to be fair, it's not really going to grow out, it's going to grow up. There we go, so we've got a nice little corner of marigolds. Ouch. I'll just give them a little bit of water. And that'll be nice because it's right by the door, so the bees should have no problem accessing the flowers, and any nasty pests that are kind of deterred by the smell of marigolds, like carrot root fly, right? They're by the door, so hopefully they'll just get a whiff and they'll turn around because there's some delicious carrots right here. Cool. Okay, that's one thing done. I do want to plant the tomatoes, but I don't know what to do with the carrots. Right, let's pull up some carrots. Sod it. Let's pull some up. Maybe I'll pull the carrots that are in that gap. Where am I going to want the tomatoes actually? Yeah, I think a tomato there. I want them at the back really. So maybe I'll just pull up some there and some there, leave some in the middle, and then we can let them grow for a bit longer. Right, okay, moment of truth. Was it worth planting carrots in January? I think I sowed these seeds in January. So I want maybe that gap there. No, I want that gap there. Right, I'm just going to get that bee out of the greenhouse because he's driving me insane. Right, here we go. I'm really not expecting big things, and I don't want you to either because, like I said, I think these have been in since January. It is now the 16th, I think, of May. So I'm not going to expect much. To be fair, that's not even bad. Let's clear. I'm just going to pull them up all together. Okay, I was about to say if I had a pet parrot. If I had a pet rabbit, these would probably be pretty perfect. Okay, look at some of these. Like, how is that even a carrot? Well, I guess it's not, but like, that's been there for 4 months, 5 months. Okay, they smell delicious actually. So with these, what I'll probably do, obviously not these ones, I could just give them a really good wash. I won't peel them because that would be half the carrot gone. And I could eat these just as a snack. There's really no point them being any more than a snack. Okay, cool. Right, we've got a bit of a space there, so I can now put in one of my tomatoes. Let's get rid of this huge weed while we're at it. Okay, cool. Right, okay, so this is one of my beefsteak tomatoes. It is growing beautifully. It's such a healthy specimen, such a good, healthy plant. Let me move these just over there. So I'm just going to put it in here. Probably going to remove this. Right, I'm going to dig up this lupin. Ew. Oh, it's a lupin. I thought that was a weird carrot. Let me dig this up and I can transplant this to outside. I'm not worried about damaging the roots. It's been there for 2 years and there's no reason it's been there. It's just that's where I planted it over winter. Okay, let me chuck this outside. I will deal with that in a bit. Okay, cool. Now we've got a bit of space. Where's that? Tomato. Now we've got a nice bit of space. That's how shallow this bed is. I'm hitting the floor. I'm going to add a little handful of, there's red ants in there. I'm going to add a little handful of fish blood and bone. Which I'll mix in with this. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do it right now, but once I've planted this, I've been meaning to add more compost here anyway because I need to top it up. And the carrots have kind of been the reason that I've not done that any sooner. But I will top this up, which will bury the tomato slightly deeper. But for right now, I'm just going to go for that because that is as deep as the bed is. There we go. Giving it a fair bit of space because under this raised bed is just solid chalk, which it will be able to root into a little bit, but it's, yeah, I want to give it a good space around it so that all this soil can hold onto some moisture and make sure that the plant is getting well watered. I'm gonna get rid of these lupins, they are just taking up space. Right, cool. Okay, let's give that a bit of a water. Actually, we've got another corner here for, you know it, some for some marigolds. I'm just going to be a bit heavy-handed and just rip these out. Just a little group. Let's just put a little group in. I think if I had more basil, I'd probably put basil down there. But nice bit of marigolds there. I could actually put some lettuces here. I think I might do that because what's going to go in the front here? Let me put 3 lettuces there. I'll grab them. So I think I'll just go for 1, 2, 3 in that space, let them grow into nice heads, and then I can harvest them as heads, or I can pick and come again. I don't know why that weirds me out saying that, but yeah. Right, let's get these over here. Okay, so these should come out nice and easy. Perfect. Look at that perfect little plug lettuce plant. So let's go 1, 2, 3. So this one can go here. Just being really gentle. I don't need to pack it in because it's got good. All you need to do is make sure that the plant roots have good contact with the soil. So if you're like really pushing it down, you're just going to damage these roots that you want them roots to grow. You don't want those roots to get damaged. Let's get you over there. Best thing I could do for these is give them a really good water, and that will kind of settle the soil down into the roots rather than pushing them really hard. I just see a lot of people pushing them so hard when they're like transplanting, and it really cannot be good. Cool, look how nice that looks. Really nice. Right, let's get you in there. There we go. So kind of trying to maximize the space. Just need to make sure these get watered. And again, these lettuces are probably going to get to about that big each. So it's really going to fill that gap. Yeah, so I'll make sure that I harvest them as soon as they're ready to harvest. Whether I'll cut the whole head off and take it all, I don't know. I'll probably be more likely to just pick it as and when I need it. But cool. I'm glad that we've got 1 tomato in. I want the second tomato to go over there, not here. Or do I want it to go here? Actually, let's plant it right here. I just need to make sure that that I manage the side shoots, because I think what's happened in the past. Yeah, so what's happened in the past is that I've kind of, if I've planted them in a way that's not like super efficient to pick over and maintain, I've let them grow their side shoots, which has made it just turns it into like an unmanageable mess. And I want to avoid that this year. So yeah, I'll plant them in a row. Can 2 be considered a row? I don't know. Cool, let's get the other one. All right, here we are. So these have grown drastically within the last couple of weeks, and these actually do already have some flowers. if you can see coming there, there's a huge flower right there. Cool, let's get these in. Then we can give them a good water and a good, let's grab some fertilizer. Right, this fertilizer, it is granular, so it'll break down as it gets moist, as it gets like, as I water it, it'll kind of break down into the soil. So I'm not too worried about, yeah, I just want to distribute it well, but I'm not massively worried about where it is. It's going to kind of, the roots of the tomatoes are going to go pretty crazy anyway. We have a label, believe it or not, so let's just bung that there. Lovely roots. Again, going to try and plant it, I'll plant it as deep as I can here, but then I'll top the bed up with compost at a later date. Could be weeks. But let me put it about there. Oh, there goes the lettuce. There we go. Perfect. The soil's nice and damp actually. It's not damp enough that I wouldn't water it, but it's damper than I was expecting. So that's good. Cool. Okay, do I plant more lettuce? Oh, I think I want marigolds at the front actually. Let's grab a couple of marigolds. Put the marigolds right in the corner. Last year I had calendulas in here. They did really well, but I've noticed calendulas get powdery mildew and French marigolds don't, as far as I've ever experienced. And I kind of don't want, because I'm growing pumpkins this year, I don't want to grow calendulas everywhere because the powdery mildew just could really spread. I think the reason that calendulas get it so much is they've got really waxy leaves, so it kind of is quite sticky. So I think spores of mildew probably get stuck to it quite easily, whereas marigold leaves are very smooth and just a theory, may not be a fact. Okay, cool, right. There's that. Do I want to plant another lettuce here? I might as well, mightn't I? As I said, I don't really have any other plan for where these could go. So I do always have a tendency to plant too densely with my plants. I just don't want that to kind of take away from their ability to do it as well as they can. But you know, it's too difficult not to just cram as much in as you can. Okay, and then here, let's just get another lettuce in. If in doubt, plant a lettuce out. I don't know if you can even see. Yeah, you can. I'll do it there so it's in line with the other lettuce, and so that we're not kind of encroaching on the next I say the next row, the next area where I don't know what is going. Okay, cool. That does feel massively too close together. The tomatoes are fine. As long as I keep them as single leaders, they'll be absolutely fine. But yeah, the lettuces just look a bit close together, but we are okay. We're going to make it work. What is this? Oh, that's from my colocasia. Anyway, right, cool. That's done. Do I have any? Yeah, I do. I need more, but I'll give these a good water this afternoon. Well, it's already the afternoon, but I'll give them a good water in the before the evening. What am I saying? Right, so I just filmed my outro. Well, not just the outro. I filmed potting up some of my plants, which I'll show you in a second. But the whole thing had no audio, so let's try it again. But it's going to be a lot briefer. So what did we do here? There was loads of empty cells where I had used up the lettuces, so I've just planted my Swiss chards. I've potted them up into. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. Potted them up into these cells so that they can grow a little bit bigger before they go out, because I don't have a space ready for them yet anyway. And then I did put a couple in here just as little fillers. Let them grow a little bit bigger until they can go out. And then he's been a nightmare. No. And then I've just given everything a really good water. So that is all. And then there are some things I mentioned in the video that I don't remember, and it's quite frustrating. Yeah, so the marigolds are. I'm so excited for the marigolds to grow because me and my brother used to grow marigolds what felt like every single year. So marigolds are very like nostalgic, and they're just such good fillers that they kind of fill every little gap, and they grow pretty quick. Once they get going, they really go. So like once you get one flower, you'll notice within a week or two you'll just have loads of flowers. So yeah, everything's watered. That was kind of it really, but it was a 7-minute video instead of a, what's this, 51 seconds. I was gonna put some canes in, but I think I might let these grow a little bit more before I put canes in. And then over the next couple of weeks, I'll get rid of all these carrots, and then I can put. I don't actually know what's going to go here, but something's going to go here. Potentially another tomato, because I do still have a few spares. Where are they? Here, which I've given them a quick water. These are Alicantes. These are Tiny Tims, which already have some tomatoes on. And then we have, what else? Yeah, this beefsteak. Well, this beefsteak I'm going to give to my mum. Oh, I've already saved her one. Yeah. Oh, I do have another, actually. One of these is a beefsteak, and they've got labels. Perfect. Okay, cool. Okay, so that is it from me. Sorry that the end kind of got ruined, but everything's looking good. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy, please leave a like, and I'm going to be uploading videos like this every single week. And you guys can follow along and let me know what you guys are growing and what you think I should grow as well. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.